there are a few better ways to start a football season than the way the Tennessee Volunteers have through the first two games of the 2025 season. A 2-0 start and a 72-17 final over ETSU gives them the most points scored in school history. Pretty impressive to do that just 2 games into the regular season. And this game was special for a number of reasons. Of course, it was the first start inside Neyland Stadium for Joey Aguilar. And if you could go back to the preseason, that was a moment he was really looking forward to, being able to run through the tee, being able to participate in the wall walk. He did so also with a number of his family members in the stands with him, not only his parents and his girlfriends and close family, but also his grandmother making the long trip from California, and they were just full of tears the entire game, and for good reason. He was able to build off of his performance against Syracuse in this game against ETSU. It might sound like an obvious point, but when you look at it from the microscopic level, which I love to do here on full disclosure, that's where he impressed. He impressed in the details. You could go to the end of the first half where he's completing 8 straight passes, and in that streak he's getting a touchdown pass to Mike Matthews for 53 yards. And what's impressive about that, and we'll get to Mike Matthews after this, was Joey Aguilar is cool, calm, and collected in the pocket. He has tons of time. His linemen are taking care of business. But then ETSU's defensive lineman gets away from one of the offensive linemen, and he starts to apply pressure to Joey Aguilar as he's rolling out to the left, waiting for Mike Matthews to get his head turned around. And despite having that guy in his face, getting pressured there, he's able to get the ball off, goes downfield to Mike Matthews for the 53-yard touchdown. And that continues his streak of explosive plays. He had about 7 explosive plays today. He was able to get it to 6 or so different Vols in this game, and he did so in just a half of a game that he played here today. So continuing to build off of what he did against Syracuse, he completed 74% of his passes, and it could have been better. There were a couple of times where the ball was a little bit high, the ball kind of bounced out of some of the intended receiver's hands, and I think that's the area that needs to absolutely clean up more, because it's those plays that you're not going to get back probably against Georgia, and those passes that bounce in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, there's probably a Georgia Bulldog somewhere in the vicinity. So those types of plays could end up becoming costly. It's something that Josh Heupel talked a lot about after the game, but really praised Joey Aguilar for his command, for his presence, his decision making today, but maybe could do a little bit better, especially in those checkdowns. But when we get to the next point that I really took notice to, it was Mike Matthews, right? He had 6 targets today, and he caught all 6 of his targets. He was 100% on the afternoon, really building off of what he was able to do against Syracuse. And the biggest thing is that his growth from last year until now, you can remember when he told me, a couple of weeks ago, he says, I felt ready my freshman year, but it's a night and day difference how much more ready I feel this year. And that goes into his veteran mindset, his focus that he has, the maturity that he has. And he says the reason why he had so much energy and emotion after his touchdown, where he's like spiking the ball into the ground, it's because he revealed how much he prays every single day. And that was kind of a deliverance from all of the prayers and faith that he has built in his walk with God and his faith. And it was really kind of interesting to hear that perspective from him and how much he's grown even in that regard. But he also had 100 yards on the day. It was his first 100-yard performance. He ended with about 111. Same too with Chris Brosley, who also had a really good game, had a pair of touchdowns as well, one coming from Jake Merklinger. Similar to Deshaun Bishop, ruled short the first time, but then they give him back to him the very next snap, and he goes and gets it and kind of does like a keep away type of movement. And he was asked about, what does that say about the wide receiver room that you have so many people getting targets, 100-plus receiving yards? And he says, I think it means we're pretty good. And I think that's honestly a very good place to be. But it continues to be in that same thread, right, about just having better ball security. Of course, he had the drop against Syracuse, able to work his way back from that. He had 11 targets, was able to get 9 of them. I think he ended with 125 receiving yards today as well, and really didn't play much into the second half. Just that one drive with Jake Merklinger to try and help give him some snaps with the first teams as well. Boo Carter also had a really good game today too, 94 yards, and I think he was only involved on special team returns for the first quarter. So having somebody like Boo Carter out on the field against Georgia will be an electric thing to see, because of his ability to take what the offense or the guys on special teams is able to give them, kind of like the offensive lineman would do if you're the running back, and just being able to help create seams, and he just hits it vertically and makes some really electric plays. And him and Mike Matthews have a really close close relationship because they were kind of, together. Boo Carter really kind of helped convince Mike Matthews that this is the place to go. And now that here they are together going 2-0 to start the 2025 campaign, with Georgia coming down next week. But we'll have so much more on really how this game went and a couple of details that I really liked about Boo Carter and where I think a lot of his growth is actually shown in this game. We're going to break that all down tomorrow and on Monday as well before Josh Heupel has his presser. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.